that, and it was like, we couldn't figure out how to raise it up.
It's like trampolines, you know?
It was fun.
Well, it was like $42 check, yeah.
Yeah, I got him too.
I don't know what the hell, why they do that. Just a waste of paper. Need every whatever.
Another 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
Live, Nathan? All right. We'll get our meeting started. Hello, everybody. Our first order of business is going to be our decisions, and you guys all ready for this? Everybody good? All right, good. The first one is Charles Palumbo, 442 Dune Road, proposed hot tub in the front yard. We have, we've gone through this, we had a good hearing, and the board has a decision right now to approve that variance for you. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to make a motion that we accept that variance as, that decision rather, as written.
Second.
Second by Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay. It's unanimous, so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay,
We're all set, huh?
all right.
Next one, Daniel Bernstein, 318 Dune Road. Anybody here for that one? Not really, huh? Okay, well, again, we have a decision on that one to approve that variance, so I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to accept that decision as written. Have a second? Second by Dan, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, and then the Pine Barn LLC, again, we have a written decision to approve that variance, so I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and accept that decision as written. Second?
Second.
Second by Dan, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Okay, we go through our holdovers. All of our holdovers are held over. So we have number 4 on our agenda, Kaysen and Megan Shanley, 86 Harbor Road. We have a request to hold that over. We're gonna make hold that over for all purposes. Have a second, please.
Second.
Second by Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Good.
All right.
Okay, next one is number 5, West Hampton Beach, 149 LLC, 149 Main Street. Again, request for holdover. I think they're still with the planning board, if I'm not mistaken on that one. So I'll make a motion that we hold it over for all purposes.
Second.
Second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Maybe that was Joe. Okay. 161 Montauk Highway. The applicant has asked us to withdraw that application, so I'd like to make a motion. We withdraw the application without prejudice. Have a second?
Second.
Second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
We're good. And the next one, Glen Edwards, 6 Lake Way. Again, another holdover request. Let's make the motion, hold it over for all purposes. Second by Jimmy, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Here we go. So now we are into West Hampton Enterprise LLC, 141 Montauk Highway. The applicant seeks variances from 19730C20B for proposed wall sign for Cinderella with lettering of 47 inches in height, with a maximum permitted is 12 inches.
Good evening, Bailey Larkin with Bennett Reed, offices at 212 Windmill Lane in Southampton. This is a request for relief from the sign letter size requirement in the code, which is a maximum of 12 inches in height. Actually, all lettering within the sign complies with the 12-inch height requirement, with the exception of the letter C. And that is actually due to the branding of Cinderella Markets. So it's consistent with their brand. It's makes the lettering on the sign visible along Montauk Highway with 12-inch lettering. The sign will be black in color and consistent with the village code requirements for signage. I did confirm with the architect today that it's going to be kind of gooseneck lighting over it, so the letters will not be lit at all, causing any distractions. I did look at a couple of variances that were granted previously by this board. With respect to Landmark LLC, which is the Starbucks signage, a variance was granted for 16-inch lettering, where 10 is permitted. What I found interesting is that when I look at Starbucks, the most obvious sign for me is that large logo in the center, which actually didn't require any relief from this board, which I think is kind of consistent with the C on the Citarella Market sign. It's, part of their identity is having this large script C as part of the script on there. We did hear from one neighbor, Marcus Stinchey, who I believe submitted a letter with the board saying that he didn't have any objection to the application before this board. I would submit with the board that there aren't really any alternatives if we were to take the logo for Citarella and shrink it down so that that first letter is 12 inches in height. It's really not going to be legible traveling along Montauk Highway. It is, again, consistent with what their branding is, and it'll be readable when traveling towards the site. The only sign that's proposed is on the north side of the building, which is the face of the building facing Montauk Highway itself. Again, it's only the one letter that we're asking for relief for. The rest of the sign complies with the size requirements. It's consistent with the village code requirements, and we don't believe it'll cause any detriment to the surrounding area if the variance sought is granted.
So they're basically, we were allowed to have 1 foot and you're gonna go to 4 foot with the C? Is that what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Basically?
3 feet, 11 inches is what's proposed.
They can't make it any smaller?
I can ask
They can
if,
bring it down a little bit. That's a big, that's a big difference.
well,
I understand it's only the one letter,
Yeah.
I got that, we understand Citarella's, but that's a big C. I don't mean to be, it's just a big letter. How small could they make it?
so I can ask them. The way that they had established the size of the letter in that sign is just by blowing up their existing signage so that the rest of the letters were 12 inches in size. So it's proportionate with what their logo is on bags and products that they sell in the store.
How big is the signs in other locations they have?
Actually pretty consistent. I pulled the sign for Bridgehampton today, and the signage for Bridgehampton is like 3 feet 2 inches. I can get that for the board if you'd like. The C on the sign is 3
3
feet 2
feet 2 inches.
Yes, it's fairly
Which is
consistent.
quite a bit smaller than this one.
Slightly smaller.
Huh?
Slightly smaller.
A little, well,
Yeah. A little
so it
smaller.
can be done.
I can definitely ask.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. So if you do reduce the C, won't that distort the logo?
It would, which is why we were proposing it at this size, to keep the logo consistent with what the marketing materials are for Citarella.
And in Bridgehampton, you don't know what size the rest of the characters are
Don't
anyway.
actually
I mean,
know.
They could be 10 inches for you know.
Right. That I can confirm for you. I don't have that information.
Okay.
I think the store on Third Avenue definitely does not have a 4-foot C. So you might have some room to maneuver there. And also the C continues all the way underneath the rest of the letters, kind of underlining it. Sort of like I'm sure there's a better word than squiggle, but,
Squiggle
so
works.
that's part of the measurement,
It is.
yeah.
But that is their logo.
It is their
On
logo.
their stationery, on their vehicles.
Correct. On
their
everything.
branding and everything.
Everything.
And that's the scale, whether it's a 4-foot C or a 10-foot C,
Correct.
it's scaled to whatever it is.
That is correct.
Okay. I think that's important.
That's
What's
important
that,
to
Joe? What's,
that it's
I think that when you have branding and you have a logo that you're using, it's like taking Coca-Cola and saying, okay, that C is too big. Let's take it down, 20%. That no longer is, a brand. That's no longer the branding for Coca-Cola. Or I'm just picking that out,
Sure.
out of the air.
I
It
understand.
could be anybody.
Yeah.
But and companies, take decades and years and years and years to develop branding and identification, for their products.
no,
yeah.
I definitely understand that. But they're allowed to have 12-inch letters, so they're maxing out that. And then they want to have, the proportionate, they build the 47-inch C, where we just said Bridgehampton has a much smaller one.
Well, the
So
thing
their
is though,
letters are probably smaller too.
but she can't tell you what size the other characters are, because if the other characters are 12 inches like this, and Bridgehampton has a smaller C, then that's not to their scale.
Bridgehampton is also permitted to have signage on both sides of their building and also a monument sign on the ground under the town code. So they do have a lot more signage for visibility along Montauk Highway. So the building sign being smaller is kind of offset by the fact that they do have a monument sign on the ground that's facing both ways on Montauk Highway to allow entrance and exit. So this is again one sign on Montauk Highway itself for the building.
Okay. Anybody else? Comments, anything? No. Okay, I think we have something to kick around.
Okay.
Is that it? Do you want to close it? Do you want to talk to them about altering anything, or you want to close the hearing, go forward with it? Dum-de-dum-dum.
I know.
You could see what the rest of the comments are.
Yeah, could I ask for
I
additional?
mean, so far I've only heard you mention looking for a smaller C. It'd be fair to poll the board and see if they're looking for that or not.
I don't know, I think Joe made his point about it. How about you guys?
I am just curious about the Bridgehampton comparison, just, it would be helpful just to see what the scale is there, understanding that they have more opportunities on their building, just as a point of comparison.
Okay.
Is there a timing issue, Bailey, where it makes a difference if it holds over for a month?
No.
Then why don't you hold it over
I
for a
will.
month?
Were there any other comments that I
John, Jim,
can take
anything?
back?
No.
No? Okay.
Okay,
All right, I will ask for an adjournment then.
okay, so we'll go ahead, we'll just hold it over.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'll make a motion, we hold it over for all purposes.
Second.
Second by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Good,
Thank you.
thanks. All right. Let's do the number 9, the Dime Community Bank Hampton Coffee, 194 Mill Road. Applicant seeks variances from 19730C1 for proposed ground sign for Hampton Coffee, which represents a third sign where maximum permitted number is 2, and from 19730C9A for proposed ground sign where the building setback to the street line is 35.7 feet, where the building is required to be at least 40 foot to permit a ground sign.
Good evening. For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road, West Hampton Beach. With me tonight is Jason Belkin, who's the principal at Hampton Coffee. We're here, we had, back in July, we had applied for a ground sign at our location across the street here. And as indicated, we were seeking a ground sign, which would have been a third sign on the property. And that ground sign would be located 35.7 feet from the building as opposed to the required 40 feet. As you know from the village code, a business is allowed 2 signs, one of which can be a ground sign. So we're, even with the ground sign, we're almost all the way in compliance. But we're here to talk about keeping that sign and indicating that the 40 feet, we're close enough to the 40 feet for this to work from the perspective of the zoning board. But just to give you a sense of what we're talking about, this is one of the 2 existing signs. And that one is a decent size and is visible. It identifies as our business being in this building somewhere, but it's not over the front door. And so and you can't see the front of the building when you see this sign. But the real issue here is if you look at the building from the front, And I took this picture from the approximate location of the proposed ground sign. And as you can see, the sign's pretty small from that direction and is really just useful to identify the front door when you're in the parking lot, not really to tell you that where Hampton Coffee is when you're driving by. And there's a fair bit of traffic on the side, but there's a lot of traffic, as you know, in the circle. There's another establishment across the road that, by virtue of the size of their property versus the strange shape of this property, has a much bigger sign, much closer to that location. So that's why we're seeking the sign that we're proposing. In all respects, other than the two that we're talking about, the sign meets the requirements as to size, color, square footage, letter size, etc.
Jim, are you maxed out on the, on the square footage of these two signs?
Pretty close. I think we're allowed 1 square foot for each foot of frontage, and our frontage is relatively small. So the two signs are close to, although this does, well, no, I take that back. That's not one of the variances we're seeking, so obviously we have some size available to us, but just not a place to put the size.
Right.
So if these signs aren't, signs that you have on there aren't really good identifiers, why don't you just take one of them down and make this ground sign your third sign?
Or a second sign.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we thought about that, and the one on the side is really large enough, and you can see it well from the road, so we wouldn't want to give that one up. Because if we took that one down, then you wouldn't know that we were there at all. So we didn't really want to lose that one. If we lose the one in the front, then we have a sign out on the street that says we're somewhere on this complex, but we don't have a sign that says, here we are. Because the sign on the front is really the sign over the front door, so that identifies where to go. Once there's Hampton Coffee here somewhere, which door is it?
Yeah.
So the little sign, which is barely visible from the circle.
Yeah, no, thanks. I just wanted you to get it on the record, though.
Thank you.
So, is this actually the sign that you want to put up?
Yes.
To say fresh lemonade and shaken cold fruit?
Those of me, our friend across the street, that's the most popular drinks, and I think I'm pretty sure most of the people don't realize we have those too. So we're losing business too.
And I believe the sign ordinance does allow for that kind of language on a ground sign. It's not merely limited to the logo.
The signs may identify the person, establishment, or the product and or service available.
Right. So that's what it's doing.
I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Right?
Now, in your research, have you found any other businesses in the village that are using 3 signs, or have gotten any relief with 3 signs? Or we need something some kind of meat to work with here.
Well, I think that the 3 sign issue it really stems from the orientation of this building on this lot.
Okay.
Because if we, as I just indicated, if we lose the sign on the side, nobody knows we're there.
Right.
If we lose the sign on the front, nobody knows where our front door is.
Right.
So I think those are all important components. But the sign on the front, while it identifies the front door, is not terribly useful for the road traffic, which is what the signs are all about. And that's why we're looking to put the ground sign.
Right. So a lot of it is driven by the storefront itself, the frontage.
Yes.
Just not a great number of feet.
There is not.
So you're really restricted to.
Yes, and it's a long way away.
Yeah.
Even though it's not 40 feet, it's a long way away.
Right.
Well, the street itself is actually 40 feet. The location that this sign can go is a little less than 40 feet away from the front of the building.
And you're going through a roundabout there with a lot of people really not realizing, okay, where am I going? Which,
Right.
and really not They rise on the road more than.
We hope, yes.
More
We
the
hope.
businesses.
Yes.
You don't think that, if you took the sign down in exchange for this, that with this sign here, the awareness would be equal to
No,
what you're looking for?
I don't think so. I mean, because there's a lot of traffic in the circle, but there's a lot of traffic that, you know, that road is the main road into town. So we would like to be able to identify ourselves to people who are just coming into the village, which is the main road that almost all of us do when we're coming into the village.
Can you make a case for how it would not be precedent setting?
Can I make, well, I think for some of the reasons I've already mentioned, the
Or I should say
strange.
precedent setting for like every corner lot parcel.
Right, well, I think
Is
this
that-
is more than just a corner lot. I mean, this lot comes to a peak, there's a circle, there's the building itself, it is not perpendicular to any of the proper, well, it's perpendicular, I guess, to the lot line, the street lot line on the east. So I think that this is a pretty unique piece of property with an interesting located building, which I think if the planning board had an opportunity to look at how this site was developed, it might have been developed differently. But there was, as I recall, there was an existing gas station there, and they just replaced that building.
And you're one tenant on the property, right?
Yes.
And would the owner covenant that we wouldn't get another application for the second tenant who also wants their own sign? Because we've had that before where, you know, you've got multiple tenants and there's a reason for multiple signs, but then, all right, they got an extra sign, why don't we get an extra sign?
Okay, well, the other tenant is the owner, but I can't see that they would be adverse to that thought. We could certainly speak to them about that, or obviously if it was a requirement of the approval, then we'd have to speak to them about that.
Now, since you mentioned the other tenant, I see, the Dime Bank, they may not, have taken advantage completely of the, of their signage, square footage.
Right.
Maybe that's something to think about, since it's one building and it's,
Well, I-
Jason and Teresa are tenants there, using the entire building and working with that, with more square footage of signage and adding something to Hampton Court.
Well, number one, that if I were the bank, I wouldn't give up to another tenant. And I think these applications need to be analyzed in the context of what the code requires, and they deal with numbers of signs and sizes of signs for individual uses.
Okay.
Individual tenants, so. But we're happy to explore the idea of covenanting as council has.
So I go back to what Tony was saying about the uniqueness and not setting a precedent on this. This, we all live here, we all know what's going on, right? We've all been in Hampton Coffee for years, so we understand that aspect of it, but this sign is to do direct competition to the other sign, to get some of your business back, right?
Right.
So how are we gonna make this unique to this, that, the surf shop doesn't have a
Well, the
problem
surf
down the
shop
road,
sits
or,
squarely on a rectangular lot
well, not,
set back from the street in a linear fashion. It's not, it doesn't have any of the challenges that this has.
but this is specifically designed to be across the street from the other business and say, hey, we have that. We have
But it's
that too.
specifically designed to
So-
inform the public that we're here and this is what we have.
Right, now how are we gonna make that different for, I just threw the surf shop, or
Yeah.
the bakery, or,
Well, I think
Sydney's.
the physical
Yes.
layout of
Yeah.
the physical layout
Right.
of this lot versus almost any other lot. Again, Sydney's.
that's how you, that's the
yeah.
uniqueness that you're
Yes,
saying, Jim,
that's
is
it, yes.
the layout of the lot makes
Right.
it.
Yeah, and I don't know that there's too many, if any, other lots that have this issue. These issues. How far back it's set from the road. The point that it comes to, the odd-shaped lot that it is. None of the examples that you cited have any of those issues. They're all much
Please don't
closer
take
to
this,
the road.
don't take this the wrong way, but if you were to come, you or another practicing attorney were to come in, if it was Sydney's and they were upset that they had competition moved close by and they wanted to do the same thing.
Sandwiches instead.
Pardon me?
Say sandwiches.
Right, right.
Well,
Pieces, sandwiches,
but the
whatever,
the
but you know
content
what
of
I'm
the sign
saying?
is not at issue. I think the content of
again?
the content of the sign is not at issue. What we're planning to put on this ground sign, if the relief is granted, is well within, I think, the meaning of the code. Otherwise, the building inspector, because the building inspector saw this as well, and he didn't indicate that as anything.
No, it's
that
not
we needed
that,
variance
it's
for.
not that, but it is a variant, so it's an added sign where you're trying to get more information out there
Right.
through signage than you would otherwise be able to do on the two signs you're allotted, right?
But isn't
So
that the
it
purpose
could
of
be,
the sign?
it could be, yeah, but it could be precedent setting where it's like, I don't wanna waste, I still want my logo, but I also wanna advertise for sandwiches or for refreshments or for, pool floats or for whatever it is.
Right. But I
So
think
there's
it-
a, there is a limit
Right,
for a reason.
right.
You gotta choose within the confines of the code. It's just a question of how it
Hampton Town.
doesn't proliferate and then become just a town of extra signs
Right.
compared to what the code allows.
Right, well, again, several of the examples that have cited wouldn't even come close to the 40-foot setback requirement. I mean, the first issue here is that we are very close to meeting the 40-foot requirement. Sydney's wouldn't meet that by a long shot, so those could be.
I would just throw that out,
Yeah.
it's just that
Uh,
something
the
popped
surf
into my
shop,
head.
you know, I can't think, the other buildings on the circle are all right on the circle. And so they could not meet that, they could not come close to meeting that limitation.
Sure, that's
an
a
additional
setback,
sign.
but let's talk about the third sign.
Right,
You know, I'm really talking about the third sign,
okay.
okay?
Well, in the context of the examples that you chose, I think that there's very good visibility for those other locations, and we have less so, because the property comes to a point at the circle, and if we lost the sign on the Potunk side, we'd be completely invisible to that traffic. And if we lost the sign over the door, well, do we go, is it the double door, is it the other door? What, you know, where is your business? Those are kind of the unique characteristics that are created by this site with its shape and the orientation of this building as compared to some other building that would come and try to make the same argument. They wouldn't have those kind of circumstances. Because most of the businesses in the village are located on rectangular lots, and the front of the building is close to in the B1 anyway, or close to the road, and are parallel to the road. So they wouldn't run into these kind of circumstances.
Would it be not possible to adapt one of the existing signs to incorporate the messaging that you're trying to get across there and achieve the same goal without adding?
Well, you couldn't see it. The problem is, especially the door over the front door, the sign over the front door.
Yeah, not that one, I'm talking about the side one, yeah.
Yeah,
But then why do you need that one? If you can't really see that, that was the suggestion
well,
made
if
by
you
the
get into the
chairman.
parking lot, then you need that sign to know which door to go into. So,
Well, you do have the dime sign just to the left of the center door.
well, true, that's true.
But I understand what you're saying. Oh, by default, it must be over here, you know?
Yeah.
You-
I just think it would create some level of confusion.
Yeah, I agree.
As to where is this business actually located?
You guys have anything else for Jim? I think
I'm good.
any of you folks out there have any comment on this application? Not really, huh?
I guess if it would help with the covenant, we'd be happy to adjourn this for a month and inquire about that. if you think that would be helpful to the ultimate decision.
And what would the covenant specifically be?
I believe Tony indicated that it would restrict the other tenant from seeking variance relief for an additional sign.
Otherwise, there's a direct precedent, you're gonna get a second.
Right,
How could you possibly distinguish
the
that?
Dime's gonna wanna have,
Dime would say, we get the same exact thing.
right,
You're either gonna combine them, which is a possibility, would be to say, if you were inclined to approve. But it becomes an automatic precedent. I mean, there's no way to distinguish Dime from your site.
Well, Dime could arguably have the same set of circumstances, so I understand.
Yeah. That's all. That was the only question. I don't, and I'm not,
no, I don't
not
think
saying
about
I'm,
that.
I'm
I was just
suggesting it
curious
should or
as to
shouldn't,
why-
but I asked that question just to see if it was precedent setting on Dime, as that could be a way to minimize the precedent. That's all I asked.
I know people might disagree, but, if this were my application, I'd be looking at the entire building and speaking with the landlord and see if, see if something can be done, total square footage and, what's allowed, for that building. And, with a covenant, that, when the Hampton Company, if they ever leave, then that gets, extinguished.
Right, I don't think that under the code, their square footage is available to us.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it,
No, I mean, as a matter, the code talks about signs and sizes in relation to
Yeah, frontage, yes.
frontages.
Yes, I know,
And so
I get that.
I don't
I
know
get
that,
I'm just reaching,
I don't know
trying-
if the sign ordinance as drafted contemplates a joint sign or essentially being able to assign some of their signage rights to us would be another way of saying that, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know, that's,
And that would be, if they were
Sure.
to agree to that, then the ground sign could be their second sign. And then they could give it to us, but I don't think the code contemplates that, so.
They can give it to you. Well, I think that's an important thing for you to look into, Jim,
Okay.
because we certainly couldn't, coming back here in 2 months and having the Dime say they want another
Okay.
ground sign on that
All right.
property too.
So we'll inquire, and depending on that answer, then we'll give some thought about how we might want to go forward otherwise, but.
Good.
It doesn't seem like you have any issue with the distance variance, though. It's the
I
third
think
sign.
that the distance being what it is, I don't think if you're gonna get an allowed third sign, it's gonna be a ground sign, it's gonna have to go there.
Right.
I've looked at it, I don't see anywhere else,
Okay, I would ask you to put it over then, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good choice right now.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
let's make a motion to hold this over for all purposes.
Second.
Second by Jimmy, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you all.
Thank you. Sign says, long here, hippie people. Okay, right. Okey dokey. Sweeney Family Holdings LLC, 223 Dune Road. Applicant seeks a variance from 19735C for deck extension with a setback to the crest of dune 61.5, with a minimum required is 75 feet.
Hi, good evening, members of the board. Heather Wright for the applicant, 48H Main Street, West Hampton Beach. The owners, the Sweeney Family Trust, has owned the property since 2020. It's in the R3 zoning district. The property is currently improved with a single-family dwelling, pool decks, and a walkway to the beach. The proposal that we're asking you to consider is the addition of 341 square feet to the existing wood deck around the pool. The existing deck right now is 69 feet from the crest of the dune, and we are asking for a variance to 61.5 feet,
How close is it now?
69 feet
69 feet.
Yes.
Want to go to what?
to 61.5. So when we look at the 5-part test and the impact on the character of the neighborhood, we would argue that it doesn't have an impact on the character of the neighborhood. It's a small deck extension that's adding additional outdoor space, really to make the deck more functional, because that south side of the deck is only about 3 feet between the pool and the fencing, the edge of the deck. So it's a really tight space. So for safety purposes, for getting a little extra space, you know, it's not going to have an impact on the neighbors because we're not getting any closer to the east or west side. We're going to be in line with the location of the deck and the house to the east, and then to the west is Bath and Tennis, and they're about 100 feet or so further south than where we're located. And we tried to design it so that it's consistent with the crest of the dune setback that this board has granted in the past on other properties that for accessory structures like decks and for pools. There really is no feasible alternative here because if we were to go east or west, practically it wouldn't work from the location of the stairs, the location of the some of the mechanicals, but also we are at our setbacks already, so any movement east or west would require would require a variance relief from this board. I would argue that's not substantial when you look at this request against, you know, the lot itself, right? The narrowness of the lot, it's only 75 feet wide, similar to many other lots on Dune Road. The location of the existing structures, you know, we're not exceeding lot coverage, we're not asking for side or total side yard variances. It's not going to have a negative environmental impact, it's just a small deck extension. And in terms of self-created difficulties, I mean, we all know that asking for a variance is a self-created hardship, but certainly not a factor that is a deciding factor. So, I mean, I think this is, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I'm listening.
You look like you have a question.
I do, but I'm waiting for you.
No, go ahead.
I'm curious as what you're going to do about the air conditioning stuff.
That's going to be moved to the west side of the property.
To the what side?
To the westerly side, right? Yeah.
The west side of the property?
Yeah, so it's I mean, I have a drawing here. Right now, the air conditioning is right here, and it's just being shifted right to the side here.
This is the R3. Don't you need 20 feet on the side?
Yeah.
Do they have 20 feet for that?
Yeah, are we going to meet the 20?
Yeah, I believe the air conditioning units are permitted obstruction in the setback.
We'll have to check that.
Check with Brad on
Yeah, I'll
that. I'm
check
not
with
sure
Brad.
that's-
He didn't raise
Yeah.
that as a variance that we needed?
He didn't.
No.
The measurement on the survey is 15.5 feet, if I'm reading it correctly.
There's a platform that the units.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Joe is
You
our,
can come on up and
Sorry.
speak if you want. Tell us who you are. Come on up. We're glad to entertain anything you have to say.
come on up, sorry.
Good evening,
They don't have
Joe
the code.
Pajak, architect,
Joe.
16 Library Avenue, West Hampton Beach. I just wanted to address, the AC units are sitting on a platform. That's why it's a little wider than the AC units.
Right.
It's my understanding that those are permitted obstructions in a side yard.
Accessory structure in the side yard. I'm gonna have to check
They're
on,
not,
double check on it. I
don't think they're
so.
considered accessory structures because they're mechanical utility units, but we can double check with Brad.
Yeah, we'll check with Brad on it, because he didn't raise it when.
Yeah.
and it-
That may be his I mean, I remember Paul Houlihan always used to consider them accessory structures, but maybe Brad has a different view.
So we'll check that.
Worth asking.
Okay.
You know, putting that stuff in the side yard, it's gotta meet a setback, because otherwise you gotta have it. You know, there could be a situation where you have that underneath somebody's, you know, bedroom window,
Right.
so.
Well, we'll
but
check
you
that. I
have to
mean,
check
that's on
that.
the,
Okay.
that's on the country club side as well, so even moving it to that side isn't gonna have a negative impact on them. But we'll obviously have to talk to Brad about the code requirement.
Yeah,
But you don't have any, it's a conforming side yard over there, right?
It's No, it is eight,
Got a variance.
19.6 on that side and 18.6. No, I'm sorry, that's, I'm looking at lot coverage. It is.
But we haven't given a variance for that side, right?
You did. So what
did.
happened in 20 years ago, in 2025, when the house was originally,
2005, this is 2025.
sorry, 2005,
Right.
20 years ago, when the house was constructed, the then owner obtained a variance for that setback because of builder error. So they came to the board after the house was built.
The only reason I asked that is that the more modern decisions, one of the, when the board grants side yard setback variances, is a condition that says there shall be no location of any AC units, et cetera, within that side yard without further review of the board. So with the idea being that if they're going to extend a variance to then add to it has to be something that the board reviews, that's all.
Okay, yeah,
In
I
an,
mean,
in an old, on an old one, that probably isn't
not in there, but.
part of that thing, but it's the same idea of, once you start encroaching into the side yards, then by adding to it with AC units, you're getting even closer and closer, so that's all. I think that's the reason why we ask questions about it.
Sure.
Is there any other place to put it?
I don't know.
It may have to be. We'll see. We'll see.
Here's the problem I have with this. This property is fully developed. It's a five-bedroom house, 5 bathrooms and more, 5,000 square feet. Developed side yards, lot coverage, everything, to the max. The spirit of the variance is really for practical difficulties and unnecessary hardship. Which really is, neither of these. It's just we want to extend the deck. It's an overreach, of what I think I do here.
I hear you. I have a couple thoughts on that.
Okay.
One is, just for point of clarification, we're not maxed out on lot coverage now, and we will be close to it if the board grants the variance, but we're certainly not exceeding lot coverage. With respect to, the side yards, yeah, we are at the side yard setbacks, but, what I thought was interesting about that decision 20 years ago was that, I understand why they had to come to the board to get the relief, but we all know that on lots that are 75 feet wide, this board has, on new constructions, on things built up from the ground, granted side yard relief to applicants proportionate to the width of the lot. So here, we're not asking for that, we're simply asking for a little bit south. And I do think it's not just because they want it, I think it's partly a safety issue, which is similar to the variance you granted at 351 Dune Road, had a very similar configured deck with a pool, and the south side of the pool had a fence that, same thing, it was like, 3 feet between the coping of the pool and the fence, and the board did not grant the side yard variances that the applicant wanted, but recognized the request for the crest of the dune setback to just accommodate a little more room around the pool. So I don't think in this case it's simply because the applicant wants it, and I recognize your role and what you're charged with doing here, but I think there's a case to be made for why this variance request makes sense in this case and is consistent with some of the other variances that this board has granted.
And you say that's 351 Dune Road?
I have a copy of the decision I have a copy of.
Yeah, you may want to make that part of your argument.
Okay, definitely,
Yeah.
I'll put it in the record.
Yep.
And then again, in terms of the proximity to the crest of the dune, you know, of course, we'd even like more, a bigger deck, right? But we did look at the decisions at, you know, 15 Dune Road, 17 Dune Road, all of them were new constructions from the ground up, similarly sized lots, same width, you know, and they have a 59.1 setback from the crest of the dune for a deck and pool. One of them had a 61, similar to this, this request. So I think it's in line with sort of, it recognizes the constraints of lots on Dune Road. They're long and narrow, and you're sort of limited to the area in which you can build.
Well, you know, somehow a 5,000 square foot house got built on a narrow lot, so that's in a 5-bedroom house, so.
But that's the case on all the homes on Dune Road. They're all 5, 6, 7 bedrooms, and this board has granted those similar type variances. So the size of the house, and again, we're not seeking lot coverage. We're not, you know, seeking a lot coverage variance. But I understand.
Yeah. You know, I would put those cases, you know, those
Yep,
examples.
I have them here.
Okay.
Hey, Heather, that south side deck, I mean, we saw it, it's pretty, we understand where you're coming from as far as being, how foot-wise, how wide is it gonna be? I see the square footage that you have, but I'm not,
Well, we're currently at a 69 setback, and we're going to 61.5. So we're adding,
you're almost tripling the size of it, right? You add another 8 feet? You're saying it's 3 feet now and you're gonna add 8 more feet?
well, the distance, we're adding 8 feet to the, we're adding 8 feet to the deck.
Right,
In a round, so it's not straight across, it's in a circular.
yeah. So the closest point to the dune is the
Correct.
61.
And remember, the deck is on pilings, right? It's all sand underneath. It's not like a foundation.
Yeah.
By the way, I looked at the survey, it does show the AC units on the west, and since Brad didn't flag that as requiring a variance, I think we can assume that he interprets it that way. So, it doesn't mean necessarily you can't look at it as far as the overall impacts, but
Right.
it's not a non-conforming situation. And you're not being
And you're
asked
gonna
to
ta-
give, you're not being asked to give a western side yard setback variance on this application.
But they're gonna take those AC units and put it on the west side,
Yeah, it shows on the survey, you
Right.
can see it.
so. From where they are now, they're all in the back,
Yeah, but I mean, maybe if there were I think you can distinguish that from a property where there's a single-family home. You know, if this were the other side, I would think I would maybe have more concern. But here, we're talking Bath and Tennis, which is significantly further south than where those air conditioning units will be located.
And they have quite a
And that's
lot.
on the service driveway of the Bath and Tennis as well, I think.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
quite a lot going on over there too.
Yeah.
Now, it looks like the properties to the east, you're gonna be, you know, quite a bit further south, you know, if this variance is granted, you know, for that 8-foot extension. And, you know, their pools, you know, they have no room on that south side to walk around either. So I see them before us, you know, for the same relief, if not more.
I mean, I can't, I
I'm
don't,
just,
Yeah.
here's what we look at, you know.
This pool also does not have any.
I don't know what the width of that lot is. I mean, to me, it could be 75 feet, it could meet the 100, you know, it could be 100 feet and
This
not,
cantilever
you know,
has a few feet.
I don't know what their constraints are on that lot.
Well, I don't ever, you know, I know you made that statement about the 75 feet, you know, and then granting relief because
Yeah.
it's not 100 feet, but I don't recall, you know, ever, you know, voting on granting variances, you know, because of that, to the crest of the dune, because it's 70, it's a lot that's, you know, that's a little undersized.
No, I'm sorry if maybe I misspoke, but my point there was that with respect to the 2005 variance, I know a variance was granted on this property before, but the relief was to address a builder's error.
Right.
And I was pointing out that on these more narrow lots, there have been situations where the board has granted more side yard relief than what we even have here because of the width of the lot, and we're not asking for that in this situation because we don't want to get any closer to the neighbors. I'm
No,
just
that-
pointing out the constraints.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything else. Good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, we still have more things that were submitted to look at. You know, that Megan has.
Right. Oh, no, I know.
Okay.
We'll have to go over that for sure. But I do want to get some clarification, huh?
I'll email you guys.
Thanks. I do want to get clarification from Brad on that side yard stuff.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So we're gonna hold it over.
Okay. Great.
So, I think, there's no other questions about it. I think I'll just make a motion to hold this over for all purposes.
Okay.
Second.
Second by John. All right.
All right. Thank you.
This is- Okay. William Durst, 483 Dune Road, applicant seeks variance from 197.8A to construct additions with a resultant proposed front yard setback of 57.1 feet, where the maximum required is 75 feet, and from 197.8E as the proposed addition represents a third story where the maximum permitted number of stories is 2, and also from 197.8E, proposed height of 35.9 feet above grade plane where the maximum permitted is 32. We're not in a floodplain.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Jeff Sands. I'm the architect for the Durshes.
Okay, hi Jeff.
Hello.
Tell us about your plan.
Okay, so the Durshes, they need a little extra living space that we're looking for to relocate their master bedroom over the kitchen, trying to preserve ground area on the property. So, you know, so we wanted to basically add living space above the kitchen. It's a vaulted ceiling right now. So we would basically just the kitchen would stay as is, the cabinets and everything are staying, and we would just build over the kitchen. We have to build out a little bit forward. The house is already non-conforming in the front. We were inching it out of just, I think it's like an extra 4 feet to fit this staircase in. So the house is quirky, and in section it's kind of it's a very multi-level house. So the determination of the third floor I felt was a little bit questionable, but I understand Brad's point. But really, there's no floor below the kitchen. It's an unconditioned garage you can't even access from the house. So the house is on piles. You know, it's really not usable area except for storage. So there really isn't any 3 floors above each other. So, you know, if it is a third floor, then, you know, we would do whatever we would need to do to make it conform. But yeah, I would just
The first floor we're talking about here is your garage, right?
well,
That's the garage area?
in this section, like, I just kind of like boldly wrote, like, underneath this is the garage down here, dotted. You kind of enter the house here, which
Right.
is a few feet up. There's like bedrooms here. There's a staircase to here. There's outside stairs to get to this level, which is down from this level. And then this is the level we were looking to put on above the kitchen. This is the kitchen here.
So how are you gonna, the new addition is gonna be all part of the house, right? It's all gonna flow.
Yeah, so
So
we're
you
gonna
got
have a
the first
staircase.
floor.
There's gonna be a staircase in here to get to that area.
You got the first floor that you have there, right?
Right, so this is,
Right, and then you have the second floor there.
right,
One, I'm seeing that's one, and then you go up. And
right.
what's above that?
Attic.
What's,
That's just attic up there.
right, what's below the attic?
This area is like a living room,
Living room, what's below that?
bedrooms.
So that's 1, 2, and then you're gonna put an extension on, right, above the garage? Where's that gonna
Well,
be?
no, so this is existing. This
Right.
area is all existing. You drop, there's
Right.
stairs down into the kitchen.
Right?
So then we were gonna have stairs, you can't see here, but go up to this master area up here. So,
So I don't see how you not count that as a third story. Or a third floor,
maybe I'm just dense.
right?
Okay.
Am I seeing this wrong, guys?
I mean, I just look at this as being a first story. I understand this is a second story, but
Right.
this is-
You got a first story, second story, and then you go over to the left and up, and you got a third story.
Okay,
So I don't see how
okay.
you don't
I
count
guess
that
I
as.
just keep questioning it, but
Uh-huh,
I'm convinced
But
that
that first story is not habitable, right? What
well,
part?
it is.
this isn't down here.
To the right.
That's
Right.
just an unfinished garage with piles.
Okay,
bare
but the
piles.
area where you're putting a new addition, the quote,
up here,
the
this
quote,
is-
third floor
Yeah,
addition
yeah.
is not gonna be above 2 finished floors, right?
Right, it's
Okay.
only above one finished floor.
Correct. I'm trying to make that clear for the
Yeah.
record.
Uh-huh.
'Cause
So I keep getting,
but it's been done sometimes. The board's been confronted with some of those where
like, if you didn't see that,
it's
Right.
still 3 stories, but
Well-
some people have asked for that relief to allow that first story to be treated as it would if it was in a flood zone.
right, which brings us to the next topic, next variance request. So the difficulty here is that this house, it's in a spot X zone. The floodplain is very close to the front of the house, very close to the back of the house. The houses to each side have the floodplains going into their houses. So those houses can be 44 feet tall. The houses across the street are all in floodplains, so they could all be 44 feet tall. So basically, all the surrounding houses can be 44 feet tall. So my request was, could we go up to 44 feet? It wouldn't be out of character of any of the houses in its surrounding area. I did the house across the street, so I know that one's exactly 44 feet, but I don't know what the other neighbors are at this point, but they're entitled to it.
No, you're talking about because it's in the X zone.
Yeah, it's in a,
I
it's
mean,
called
that's,
velocity X zone.
well, that's your reasoning, is because it's in the X zone.
Right, 'cause since we're not in a floodplain, we cannot go above 32 feet above the grade.
All right, so on one hand, you have an advantage being in the X zone because it's not, as a severe, FEMA zone as the AE zones.
I don't know if it's an advantage. I wouldn't consider myself advantaged
In an X zone?
in it. Well,
I
There's certain-
would,
not on the ocean. I wouldn't.
okay.
I mean, to be safe, I wouldn't want to put a story down on the ground right there. I want to be up, and I understand. Yeah, it's.
No, I get that, but, well, I wasn't really driving, that way, but, But your argument is that, you know, all around you, that, you know, the neighborhood, you know, can go to 44 feet.
Right.
Okay.
And if I built this, if I went to, ask for a variance to go, say, 10 more feet to the street, the house would be touching the flood zone. And then, then we could probably go up.
And
but-
on this application, if you decided that you wanted to go, and you didn't want a peak roof, and you wanted to put, you know, a flat roof on, then
It'll be 40.
then you'll be fine.
Here's where the flood
You could,
zone is.
Yeah, I
how
guess.
close?
Close, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, I mean, it's not that house.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the proposed height of the ceiling of the new addition?
We were going to vault it, but the plate heights would be conforming to floodplain if this ever became a flood zone. 30, little less than 36 feet would be the plate height, and then we were going to cathedral the ceilings in that third floor.
Wish Brad were here, because I don't know what's a VE, what's a velocity X zone? Like, I'm
I
not
don't
sure I've ever
know.
heard of that before.
Yeah.
Because
I don't-
normally
Brad-
velocity is
Right.
a flood
X is
zone,
X.
whereas X is not a flood zone.
And then I was curious also, sorry, that it's seaward of the coastal erosion hazard line.
I mean, we do
Which-
get pocket X zones sometimes, which we get, and we get these kinds of variance requests, but I just don't know what a VEX zone is. That seems like something new, and is there a possibility it's, like you got that based on,
That's from
On a
that's
survey?
from David Fox. So
I wish I knew what that was, because,
Well, that is the, as far as elevations go, that is the better zone to be in as far as any kind of wave action.
no, but
Or flood.
VE is a bad zone to be in, because that implies that the structure is gonna be hit with a potential velocity
yeah, I know.
from,
Right.
that's the
So,
whole
yeah.
point. And so when you design, you know this, when you design the lower level in a velocity zone, you have to have certain things that you don't have to put in an AE zone, for example.
It's got to
right?
be on piles. It's got.
Yeah,
and
um,
this house was built on piles, so it's.
So does this house have to meet the velocity design standards? I'm just really confused by that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can confirm with Fox that. Yeah, honestly, I've never seen an X.
A
VEX.
VEX.
I tried to look it up and couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a typo.
I wonder if
Megan?
it might, the VE might be the typo. It might just be
Might be a
an
typo?
X zone.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I was looking for it and couldn't find it.
Sounds like
Yeah.
poison gas.
Huh?
I feel like it might be a typo. But
Yeah.
in which case, it's just a pocket X.
Which Brad labeled it as a.
Which
he
we've
called it a
seen that
pocket
many
X.
times where you happen to have a house in a pocket X zone, and
Right.
the argument that's usually made is sort of future-proofing you want to treat it almost as if it were in a floodplain to future-proof it. That's what we hear a
I
lot
mean, in a
of.
few years, this could be in a floodplain.
Exactly,
You know,
like some people assume that eventually it may
Foreman's gonna
be.
wash the sand away, and then
Yeah.
FEMA comes out and relabels
Let's
it.
say it is, you know.
Well, he's,
Anyway, that's
it's
my
a
story.
third story.
I understand the first story is the garage, but the other first story is here, second story is here, it's the third story.
It's the third story.
Yeah. It's a unique layout of this house, because in the past, we have had X zones, pocket X zones, and we've had third story, but the whole first story is unoccupied, like your garage here. You know, but here you go, you know, to one side, you have a first floor, you have a second floor, then you go over here and you have a third
It's
floor.
confusing.
So it's really a third story, you know, a third story, and I don't think we have ever given a variance under those conditions to grant a third story.
Although you wouldn't have any part of the house that has more than 2 occupied habitable stories. That is
I
true,
guess that's true.
right? That's
Yes,
true, right?
that's true.
There's not one part of this house where
You can't cut a
you
section
would have
anywhere,
one,
there's
two, three
commercial floors.
habitable
You can't even
stories.
access that area. So, I mean, you can take the panels off the piles and it's just a house on piles, high up.
And you have to go
You
outside
have to go outside.
to get to the garage.
Yes, you have to open the garage door or the back door to get in, yeah.
So if this were to go forward, that would have to be like that.
Yes.
That would not be able to be changed, where you now could have access to the garage.
Oh, no, we're not proposing a staircase inside.
Okay. How, you're going to now increase the non-conformity in the front also, you said, right?
Yeah, by like 4 feet.
Are you coming over that deck that's there?
Yeah, we're just basically pushing the addition and the deck out and the staircase out like 4 feet, just so we can fit in the interior staircase and not have to just tear out the existing kitchen, because they just did it.
Not have to tear out what?
The existing kitchen, because it's a new kitchen they put in, they wanna keep it. So it's gonna be a fun project to go over the
I was
new
gonna
kitchen.
say,
Couldn't have thought of it
Okay.
at the same time, okay.
okay,
All right.
all right, I don't have any other questions. Tony? Yeah, anything?
I just wouldn't mind if you could try to ask if that is a mistake, just to clarify it.
Okay.
I'm not saying you need to keep the record open for that, but if you could just send us a note
Yeah,
as
we'll
to
do, yeah.
whether it is a V, E,
there's-
X, or an X,
I think he
or
just
both.
copied the zone thing and forgot to erase the V.
Maybe, yeah. That would make more sense than,
Well, that would, I was trying to do some research and find it, couldn't find it. All right, so we can close the hearing, even with that.
oh, yeah, that's just a clarification. You
You
can-
guys okay with closing this hearing?
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion, we close this hearing for decision at our October meeting.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I guess summer's really over. Okay, do I have a second on that? Second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. What date is that?
October, what, 17?
16.
16?
Okay. Thank you, guys.
It's all the third Thursday of the month. All right,
Thanks.
all right, we're all set then, we don't have anything else. I'll make a motion that we close tonight's meeting.
Second.
By Joe, all in favor?
Aye.